Let me go to Dan, I'll come to Carla.
Could you tell us, in the Red Sea, does Iran continue to supply weapons and intelligence to the Houthi forces in Yemen?
So, Dan, I don't have any specific intelligence to read out to you here, nor would I, other than to say that we know that Iran, of course, provides resources to the Houthis, to include training, funding, equipment. And so, again, you know, and they're not the only ones, right? I mean, they have proxies throughout the Middle East. Again, we recognize that, and we're going to continue to call on Iran to cease supporting these types of actions that we're seeing from proxies. And again, we'll continue to take appropriate action to protect our forces.
Related to that, there was a ship called the Bishad, I'm sure you've heard of it, in the Red Sea, and Iran issued a warning saying the U.S. should not target this ship. They claim it's a counter-piracy mission ship, but it's widely believed that is actually a spy ship effectively providing electronic intelligence to the Houthis to help them spot targets. Is that a target that's off limits?
So first of all, I'm not aware of the U.S. targeting the Bishad. We are very well aware of the Bishad. As you've heard NAVCENT talk about before, it's pretty standard for Iran to have a ship in the Red Sea conducting operations, as you've highlighted, so that in and of itself is not unusual. And again, so we're there, again, to support freedom of navigation, to work with the international community to ensure that vessels can safely transit this waterway. We are not there to seek confrontation or war with Iran. But if our forces are threatened, we will take appropriate action. I'm sorry, let me go to Carla and I'll come to you, Tom.
A few follow-ups. I am aware of a single rocket attack that happened today in Syria, MSS Euphrates. If you could take that to confirm that to us following this briefing, I would greatly appreciate it. I want to follow up on Jen's question about the attack at Omar oil field. How close were U.S. forces? Were there any U.S. forces that were with the SDF when they came under attack?
Yeah, I think I answered that. So I'm not aware of any U.S. forces that were with the SDF at the time. And this was this one-way attack drone landed several kilometers from Green Village.
Okay, and then is it safe to say that at this point no militant commanders were killed in any of the strikes over the weekend in Iraq and Syria? I know you're still doing an assessment, but kind of following up.
So Carla, again, I don't have any information to corroborate that, but again, we're continuing to assess.
Okay, and then finally, with the two self-defense strikes that happened in Yemen where there were anti-ship missiles ready to launch, with the 3 attacks or 2 attacks, we're clearing that up, in Syria since the attacks in Iraq and Syria that the U.S. conducted.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Streams here.
That's 5 attacks. Is it safe to say that... Are
you talking about Iraq and Syria or Yemen?
All of them. Is it safe to say that deterrence against Iranian-backed proxies in Yemen and Iraq and Syria is not working at this point? Because there were 2 rounds of strikes, and both of those proxy sets are still striking American forces, or still trying to strike American forces in international shipping lanes.
Okay, so as it relates to Iraq and Syria, again, I'll just allow me to take a step back here. Again, our forces are there to conduct the Defeat ISIS mission. If our forces are attacked, we will, and in this case, when our forces were killed, we will take appropriate and necessary action. And as I highlighted in my topper, our responses are not complete. Again, I'm not going to telegraph or discuss what that may be, other than we'll conduct that at a time and place of our choosing. That is our focus. When it comes to the Red Sea, our focus is on working with international allies and partners to ensure that mariners can transit the Red Sea safely. Our focus when it comes to striking Houthi targets is to disrupt and degrade their capabilities. We don't seek an escalation with the Houthis. We're not at war with the Houthis. We're not seeking to go to war with the Houthis. But if they continue the attacks, we will continue to disrupt and degrade their capabilities. So they have capability. It would not be surprising to anyone if they attempt to conduct attacks in the future, but when they do, again, we'll take appropriate action, as we have been doing. And when we see an imminent threat to mariners, we will also take appropriate action, as in the case of the self-defense strikes. Let me go to Tom, then I'll come. Yeah, I need to get to some other questions.